Hi everybody, I'm Ms. Cooksey, and today we're going to be talking about 2.7 absolute value equations. This is our last lesson in our equation unit. We're going to learn how to solve equations that involve absolute value signs. So, we're going to start with some steps. Step 1 is to isolate the absolute value expression. That means get the absolute value expression entirely by itself on one side of the equal sign. Then we're going to create two equations, one set for the positive value and one set for the negative value. Remember, the absolute value means distance from zero. So there are always two numbers that are an equal distance from zero. One is positive, one is negative. We need to represent both of those possible answers. Last step, we're going to solve both equations. We're going to look at 4 examples together. Let's get started. Starting with the absolute value of x minus 5 minus 3 equals 7. I need to isolate the absolute value expression. So I'm going to start by adding 3 to both sides of my equal sign, giving me x minus 5 at the absolute value of x minus 5 equals 10. Absolute value is now isolated, so I'm going to create two equations. One for the positive value, x minus 5 equals positive 10, and one for the negative. That should say x minus 5 equals negative 10. My bad, everybody. So let's do the positive value first. I'm going to add 5 to both sides of my equal sign, and that gives me x equals 15. In the next example, I'm also going to add 5 to both sides of my equal sign. Let's fix these numbers because they are incorrect. And I should end up with x equals negative 5. Both of these values, x equals 15 and x equals negative 5, will make the equation true. We need both answers for our question to be correct. Next, we have 3 minus 2x, the absolute value of that expression, equals 7. Well, absolute value is already isolated, so we're going to go ahead and make two equations. Let's hope these are right. 3 minus 2x equals 7, and 3 minus 2x equals negative 7. That looks a lot better. Now we're going to solve both equations. So we got to undo addition and subtraction first. We have 3 out here, so we're going to start by subtracting 3 from both sides of the equal sign. I'm going to do it on my other equation as well. That gives me negative 2x equals 4, and negative 2x equals negative 10. I'll divide both sides of my equal sign by negative 2. And I have x equals 5 and x equals negative 2. I need both of these answers to make my equation correct. Let's look at 2 more examples. First, we need to isolate the absolute value symbols. So we're going to undo addition and subtraction first. So adding 5 to both sides. 2 times the absolute value of 2g minus 3 equals 26. A common mistake students will make is they'll try to distribute in this 2. We are not allowed to distribute when we have absolute value. That's only with parentheses. We need to undo this 2 on the outside instead of distributing, so we're going to divide both sides of the equal sign by 2. And that gives me the absolute value of 2g minus 3 equals 13. Now I'm going to make two equations, one for the positive value and one for the negative value. So 2g minus 3 equals positive 13, and 2g minus 3 equals negative 13. And then I'm going to solve. Starting with, I'm going to add 3 to both sides of the equal sign. That gives me 2g equals 16 and 2g equals negative 10. Then I'll divide both sides of my equal sign by 2. And my two solutions are 8 and negative 5. Let's look at this last example. The absolute value of p plus x equals negative 5. Well, if we think about this, we know that absolute value makes everything positive. So whatever p is equal to, when I substitute it in, I'm going to add 6, and then I'm going to make it positive. But that doesn't make sense, because if I did that, the output can't be negative. That's true. Because of that, because the absolute value of any expression is always positive, this is impossible. There's no number we can sub in for p and then add 6 and then make it positive so that the answer is negative. So there is no solution. When we see absolute value equal to a negative number, there is no solution. Thanks for watching. I hope this video was helpful. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss a video, and I'll see you next time.